Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equality, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders.
I am Larvetta Lofton, your host and the founder of the L3 Agency.
Known as the brand maven who transforms organizations with her storytelling prowess, meet Larvetta L. Lofton, host of Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact.
Welcome to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. Guys, this is season 10. And when I think of season 10, I really have to take a breath because I have literally seen this thing go through, right? Uncertain times. We started this during COVID and there was so much uncertainty, right? And so in that space, we are now seeing what does that look like today? And our government is uncertain too. So we're not completely out of the woods with that. But I think we know enough to know that whatever you serve and you still here, God is still in the business of keeping us. So we know that to be true. And so, I'm excited about this season, but I want you all to really lean into these episodes. We're doing something different. If you've been rocking with me, I'm not going to do anything that's comfortable. I'm always going to force myself to be uncomfortable because I don't want to be comfortable in this space. And so that's what I do to stay innovative, stay creative, but also stay relevant and stay leaned in, right? And so our next guest, I'm excited because in this season, we're really bringing on people that specialize in those that may experience some level of trauma, barrier, blockage, whatever is keeping you from advancing, from elevating, from accelerating, whatever that is, because you decided to take a pivot or the pivot showed up on your doorstep, because sometimes the pivot can show up on your doorstep. So if that's you, we're doing something different. And so if that's you and you have listened to our episodes and we are clear that there are Black businesses all over the world in several industries that can help you, support you, collaborate with you, be part of your supplier chain, whatever it is. We are clear that there is no shortage of Black businesses. We are clear. What we've discovered, though, is how these Black businesses were started. And in my time in sitting in the seat, whether I am sitting adjacent to a guest or I am sitting virtually with them, many people start the businesses because there has been some trauma experience, whatever that might be, whether I was laid off, death showed up and I just had to make different priorities. My child became extremely ill and I needed to tend. Like all of these things are factors. And I think that we need to talk about that. Okay, so we need to talk about that so that we can be business owners that not only thrive, but we are also humans. And I think that's the other part that we want to show up as humans. Okay, so our next guest, I'm excited because she was referred by a young lady who I have so much respect for, Dr. Carmen. She's been on the show and I'm just excited of this evolution of entrepreneurship. And so Canetha Amour-Porter is a visionary entrepreneur. She is a speaker, and she is the founder of Amour Women Work Community and Amour Women Foundation. With over a decade of experience empowering women, she created the Amour method, and she's going to talk to you about that. It's a signature and it's trademarked, so I want to make sure I share that with you guys. A signature framework blending mindset, strategy, wellness, and sisterhood. She is a 2-time author, podcast host and advocate for holistic wealth. Wealth, guys, holistic wealth, helping women achieve success without sacrificing their well-being. Through her co-working space, which is luxury, guys, so I just want to tell you, programs and national reach, Canetha supports women leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs in building powerful lives and businesses rooted in purpose, community, and clarity. Her mission, helping women thrive, not just survive. So, guys, welcome, Canetha. Welcome, Canetha. And, guys, I need y'all to clap for this one because I'm excited to hear about this method that she has because it's trademark. I'm like, she got a full method, honey. Okay, you can't come out here and try to duplicate her because if you do, the attorneys are coming after you. Am I right? Am I right? So I'm going to celebrate that. Yes. They coming after you. So, if you try to steal anything that she says today, I'm just going to tell y'all she's trademarked. Okay, I just got to say that. Welcome to the show, Canetha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. And I definitely want to thank my dear girlfriend, Dr. Carmen Bell-Ross, for referring me. But I'm excited to be here with you today.
So, yes. So, Canetha, one of the things that we like to do here in the Black Business Matter community, we like to know who was Canetha as a little girl before we get into who she is as this dynamic human.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Okay. So I ain't gonna hold anything back. So as a little girl, I was awkward.
Wow.
I had a learning disorder. Well, I still have it. So I have a learning disorder.
Wow.
I have a skin disorder.
Wow.
And I was extremely shy, but I also was friendly, right? So I always had a sense where I wanted to make everybody feel okay and feel good and comfortable. But I was shy. I would hide behind my older sister, or I would never do anything by myself, right? And so that is who I was growing up.
That's a lot.
And it's so funny is that, having a learning disorder and being teased, and a skin disorder, because my skin disorder is on my face, it gets my scalp, and so it's something that I can't always hide when I have breakouts. But that will lead you, kids are cruel. That'll lead you to be very insecure, right, about who you are. And then I grew up in a family where I was like the oddball out. So I have two sisters, so it's three girls and my parents. And they were always, I came from a religious household, very, very, like we went to church maybe 6 days a week.
Yeah.
My dad was a youth pastor, and everything you wanted to do was a sin. You couldn't dance, you couldn't listen to secular music, you couldn't watch secular TV. So that's the type of household I grew up. But everybody was like, my parents pushed education and good grades, and then you go to college. Well, if you have a learning disorder and don't know it and don't understand why you can't understand like everyone else, it makes it very difficult. And so it was difficult growing up, even though, I found joy in different places and different things, but it was difficult. But it became my superpower. That's all of those things and other things that I went through as I grew older, they're my superpowers now.
A lot of, I feel like, right, when people see you, beautiful woman, just absolutely gorgeous, right?
Thank you.
And to know that you struggled, right, in learning environments and then having that skin disorder. So people look at you and they're like, no way. No, she didn't, because you are gorgeous. And
thank you.
It's, and so how do we, right? Because what people see is the output, right? They don't know all the end that you had to fight, because those were demons, I would think. I don't know, right? Those were demons of making you feel like, am I worthy of all of this? Am I worthy?
Right. It's definitely not God, right? And God is how I got through. But it was situations to stop me from growing into who I am today, right? So I'll be 50 this year. I celebrate my 50th birthday in November.
Wow.
And as I look back, man, there was so many things trying to stop me from help. I've helped, and I continue to help so many women to become the best version of themselves. And even with opening this co-working space, when people come here, they're like, oh my goodness, it's something about this that's different. Because we make it a safe space for women. There's no gossip, there's no backbiting, there's none of that. It's an open, safe space because women can't heal if they can't pull their walls down.
Yeah.
And I had to heal first so I can make a space for women to do that. So everything, I had all these obstacles, and yeah, it was the devil trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing today.
Yeah. At what point, Canetha, in your career that you said, like, I'm not going to let this impair my journey and my purpose? Like, I'm not going to let this stop me.
So fear and faith can't stay in the same body, right? And, my relationship with God, today I did a post today and I said, I'm a trust fund baby. And then underneath I said, I trust in God and he funds me.
Ooh, that's good. Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Right? And it's so true. I lean on him for everything. And people may see like where I am today and be like, oh, but it was always that I knew I had a sense about myself that I was meant to do more. I was meant to help more people. Like even as a little girl, I would be like, I'm meant for something bigger and I'm meant for something better. And I want something different. And so my desire to have something that's different gave me the strength to do all the things that I've been doing. That and God, right? Being my buddy alongside the way, helping me during those difficult times. So.
That's beautiful. So how long have you been on this entrepreneurial track?
So let's see. I think I've always been an entrepreneur.
I love it.
My dad said I could sell ice to ice, igloo or ice. Wait, what is it? It's to a person who lives in Iceland, I guess, whatever. But he says, but it's not me selling. It's me when I believe in something and I trust in something. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Da da da. I can't sell anything or share. I like to say share anything that I don't believe in. And so I've been in sales for a very long time, but I was always creating these little businesses. But as an adult, my husband and I, we had a couple of businesses, right? But then when there was the big, it's 2006, between 2006 and 2008, not only did we lose everything because we had a lot of property and different things like that, but when that market crashed, it really affected us. But then I got back into business in 2015.
Okay.
And I started with a skincare company, and I had been because of my skin disorders, it's 7 of us. I have 5 children.
Okay.
And so my husband and our 5 kids, 5 of us have a skin disorder. So my husband and 2 of our kids have eczema. I have seborrheic dermatitis, and then I have a daughter who has eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, and vitiligo.
Wow.
And so I was taken to her doctor, and they wanted to give her a pill that may cause depression and thoughts of suicide. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not right. So I started going to health food stores. I couldn't find anything that really worked and didn't smell like horrible. So I created something for all of our skin, because I said I want to be a one and done, because I was getting this cream for this child and this cream for this child, and I had something different. So I created this formula, and we all could use it from head to toe, even my 2 kids who have no skin disorders. And so I lathered everybody up in the line and shipped them on their way, and I would share this with my friends and family. And then when I was at that point, when you talked about people having issues with corporate America, I was, in the management, and it was taking too much out of me. And I said, you know what? My husband was like, look, I don't care if you get something paying half of your salary. Somebody needs to be home with the kids, because even though they're getting older, they need a presence there. And I said, okay. And so I ended up leaving that corporation, and then I started my business, the skincare business.
Wow. So is the skincare business, so now are you still doing it, or is it kind of dormant?
So it's dormant now. I still make the products because people won't let me stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I still make it and I give it to friends and family, but it's dormant now because in 2020, when everything shut down, I saw women struggling, and I was like, they need something to be able to hold on to, or they needed a community, and I wanted to create a community for them. So I created Amour Women. But I was doing that along with the skincare company, and the Amour Women took off, and so I couldn't do both. So
Yeah.
I put the skincare company in dormant, and then Amour Women we just celebrated our 5th anniversary,
Wow.
and I love the fact that now we were renting spaces and trying to do, find spaces that were free, and now we have our own space.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that.
And I say that because it's, you just never know, but I suffer from dermatitis. So I suffer from the same thing. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's in my scalp. It's on my, it's on this one side of my face. It's one side. And it's interesting. So to your point, I've learned to manage it. I've learned to figure out some of my triggers that, makes the breakout, but you never know. So I started to your point, I figured out some of it was gluten generated. And so I stopped eating it. Yep. So stop doing it. It's funny as you say that, because I just had one recently. And so I know that it's something, I do believe that it is something that I consume. I do believe that it is something I consume. Not all the time, but I think it's something that I consume.
So there's so much. So I'm gluten free as well, because that was a part of it. But there's so many things that have gluten in it. You'd be surprised. You'll be like, why would this even have gluten in it?
Yes. And that's what I discovered, because I ended up my girlfriend became a nutritionist. And so she would help me. And she was like, Larvetta, she was like, you're not going to be eating anything. Like, she sent me this list. And she was like, yeah, I don't think you. And I was like, oh, man, like this. She was like, so let's try to figure out what you can maybe stop eating. Exactly. And so, the pasta was one of them. And so we, stuck with the gluten. But it is something that comes and goes. So when you said it, I was like, I wonder if hers. And so it came, and I don't know that I knew what it was. I do think some of it might have been wearing relaxed. I don't know. I have my own little theory, and I'm sure you've probably have figured that we all, and I think for Black women, I think there is some disorders there, the same way we deal with menopause and all the other things that we're, that we all face with. So I think it's all together. I don't know, Canetha. I'm no doctor, but
it's what I realized with my seborrheic dermatitis. It could be food, right? And so you cut it out and then you think you should be fine. But it also is stress. So when I'm highly stressed, it breaks out. And then drastic changes of the weather will bring it out too, because it's stressing my skin, my immune system.
Oh my gosh. So you were I went to get a facial, and my esthetician, she says, you're stressed, Larvetta. And I was like, she was like, yeah, because you break it. Like, I can tell, like, I know I know how intentional you are. I know what you're doing. And she was like, tell me if you're stressed. I was like, I am. She was like, well, it's showing up. So that's the visible stress, right? So when you think about that, Canetha, and we're really, diving into this idea of, and how trauma affects us. And so we think of this trauma as, right, it could be a killing, right? We make it so extreme that the trauma of having to go into the hospital, and, seeing a loved one being taken off of, life support, that's trauma, right? Yeah. The idea of realizing that your child, you've just figured out, is diagnosed with some kind of special need, right? Disorder. That's trauma. But we move on. We move on in life. It is what it is. And then what? Yeah. And so when you look at the women that you've worked with, have you seen that to be, the thing that drives them to keep doing what they're doing? Or is it keeping them from thriving and making the money they've always desired? Like, how do you see the effects of trauma that's not seen? It's only the ones that we share.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I love that you asked that because it's different for different people, right? Some people excel, like some women totally excel in business because not because, and sometimes they're avoiding the other parts of their life, right? So they have a great business, but their home life is horrible. Their health is horrible. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I go to the gym. I work out. Do I want to do that? No.
Oh,
But I know I want to live a long life, right? And
yep.
so I do that. And it's not even for a look because I'm perimenopausal, so I can't even lose weight right now. Right?
Oh my gosh.
But a lot of them, you see a lot of successful women that are overweight unless they're, taking, medicine to help them lose weight because they're not making sure they're taking care of themselves. Or you have people who are giving to everyone else and not making the money. So you'll see them spread like everywhere, on social media, like they're killing it, all this other stuff. But they're stressed because they don't have the money in the bank accounts because they don't know their full value and they're scared that if they charge their true value, that they won't have business. It's just so many different things. So it all depends, and that it's different for everybody because everybody has their own triggers that they need to work out. But I try to live now. Am I perfect? Of course not. I struggle, but the things I struggle with, I make sure that I do things, I put things in place that helps me. So like working out, I have a workout buddy. She'll text me like, "Girl, you up?"
Right.
This
Same
morning
here.
I text her. I was like, "You up?" She didn't respond. I said, "Oh, I hope she don't respond because I want to go back to bed."
I know, Canetha. I know you sound just like me. I'm like, oh, she don't respond. And then you get that phone call. I'm ready.
Right. Then she'd be like, "I'm walking out the door now." I'm like, right. So the areas that I have an issue with, but that I surround myself with people who are good in it. But for a long time, I couldn't do it because I was insecure. So I had a problem, an issue with everybody, right? So if I didn't take the time out to heal, I wouldn't be able to be where I am today of being open to allowing all these different people in my life for different things. So because success is not done in a silo. It's not done alone.
Yeah.
It's done in community.
It does. It is.
And just like even opportunities, Dr. Carmen Bell Ross was like, "Hey, you need to connect, da, da, da." Like, because I'm healed, because I'm able to trust people, because I'm able to put up healthy boundaries, because I'm able to do the list goes on and on and on. And I had to learn and go through all of these because I didn't have any of these skills. But because I'm able to do that, I'm around women who we love each other. We are each other's support system. We are each other's cheerleaders. I mean, it's all of that. We can't do it alone. And so I think that's the biggest part, especially with women of color, because our history is of isolation.
Yeah.
They brought us here and they isolated us and they made us feel like one was better than the other because they treated some better than others.
Yeah.
So that's where we're coming out from.
Yep.
So I feel like, even though I feel like all women have, the cattiness, and I feel like ours is to a different level because of how we were brought here in America and how they separated us and how they like to pick and choose and only one can win. Who is it going to be?
Yep. You're absolutely right. And the skin color. Remember, it was the light versus the dark. So the light's going to be, and so we've
in the house and the darks is going to be outside.
So that oppression, right, inherently, whether you act that, we still have that as residue, right? It's still in our DNA, regardless of it. And I do. So what I'm hearing is that, right, you've got a healthy community, right? You've got to create that healthy community. And what you also said is you aligned yourself with people that are better than you in those areas. So they getting up, they're like, "Girl, I done been to the gym," and you like, "Oh, okay, well, I went for like 30 minutes, So you're constantly being surrounded by that because you grew up, in church, right? And so know that in we grew up where. It's interesting because I grew up where my mom, right? If I hung out with the girl who had the baby at 16, that was unacceptable.
Yeah.
And that wasn't fair, right? That wasn't fair because, maybe, in some regards, right, it kind of made me be like, I don't want to have no child at 16. Like, I don't want to live like that. And nothing against her, but you know what I mean? Your parents somewhat shield you from that. And I think that is a real thing for that. And one of the things that I do think for women to get them to thrive, obviously you said the healthy network, creating, healthy habits. How, so knowing that, how is being true to who you are? When I say true, I'm saying being able, we use that word, authenticity. And, I've always used that word and I believe in it. But I also have figured out that part of what I'm not hearing is the truth. Because sometimes, right, that person or that company can tell you the truth about yourself and we can't receive it because the narrative is, right, boss women, we're great. But then having that feedback where you can have that friend, colleague, associate, advocate that can say, girl, I'm not, you guys didn't do a great job on that, right? Like, how do we build that healthy system where truth isn't attack, but truth is a bridge for us to be better?
Exactly. It starts with the individual. So you attract what you are. Yep. If you're unhealthy, you're going to attract other unhealthy people. And even if you have one or two healthy people in your life, they can't have the kind of relationship with you that you want to have because you're still unhealthy, because you have all these unhealthy habits that you're bringing to the table. So it was times in my life where I was in unhealthy circles and I didn't like it, right? Like, I'm not a gossiper and be like, ooh, da 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 da. But when you're around gossipers, what do? You gossip. Then true. I feel guilty and convicted about it. Like, oh, I'm so like, da da da. And I would even sometimes call the person and be like, I was talking about you and I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
I would.
That's good, Canetha. That's good.
But I've always been self-reflective. And I'm like, what part did I play in it? So my first marriage was abusive. And now we have a great relationship. We have 2 amazing kids out of that marriage.
That's awesome.
But it took for me I could have played the victim. I could have been like, da, da, da. And I don't say this to, because some people don't feel this way, but this is how I feel. And this is how I was able to heal from it. And I feel like the first time it was not my fault. Not saying that when people are good and abused, it's their fault, but this is how I had to look at it.
Yeah.
The first time I was like, whoa, wait a second, right? But after I stayed and it continued to happen, I said, what about me is allowing me to stay in this place?
That's it.
And so me being able to ask myself that, I had to kind of deal with some stuff, right? And so it helped me to get the courage enough to leave because I cared about, we was all in church. He was in church too.
Yeah, come on.
I cared about what people thought. We just got married. I felt like, people gonna be talking about us. They was against us in the first place. Yeah. I want to let them win, like stupid stuff. And then, but I did try. I was like trying to get people to talk to him and everything. But I had to realize I have an issue with codependency. I have an issue with trying to help people who aren't ready. He has to do the work. I can't do the work for him, and I can't stay in an unhealthy space just to prove people wrong, to try to help a person who's not ready to be helped. Like, I can't do that. And so that's what allowed me to, help me to leave, right? And then I thought once I got married, I wasn't going to get divorced. I didn't want, my parents had been divorced. They were married to other people who've been divorced. I didn't want that to go on into, what I'm doing and then my kids, and I didn't want that to be a part of my legacy. But I said, oh wait, I picked wrong. I can't do anything about it but to leave and to walk away. So we're so prideful sometimes, we can't take people saying things to us that's true. But if you can't, then how do you heal? How do you figure out what the issue is? Like if you're an alcoholic, if you can't say I'm an alcoholic, which is huge, and that's the first step,
that is.
How do you get help?
Yeah. You're listening to Black Businesses Matter, and we will continue our conversation in a second. But first, take a listen to this special message for our BBM fam.
We know how important it is to stay connected, so why not join our BBM Fam Club for special announcements and exclusive offers by texting BBM FAM to 312-300-1300. That's BBM FAM to 312-300-1300 today. Now let's get back to Black Businesses Matter.
First of all, I appreciate you, because I'm not even saying authentic. I appreciate you sharing your honesty. Because I think authenticity, while I love it, right, we're authentic in the work that we do, because that is who you are. But it was some of the trauma, right, which is your truth, to become authentic, right? That's how you became authentic, because that trauma allowed for you to say, hey, ladies, I've been there, done that. That's what I experienced, right? And exactly. And I think that the idea of, and I appreciate you just sharing with me, because I think as business owners, right? So when you reflect on that space, how were you as a leader in business? Like, how did that make you feel in business? Were you making good money? Were you, I'm curious to know, like, during that time, what did that look like?
So chaos is chaos. When you're chaotic in your own life, it shows up everywhere. It may show up differently, and you may be able to put blinders on. You know how we look at people and we're like, oh my goodness, they're doing amazing, da da da. Especially like, people like stars and musicians and stuff. And then we find this ugly truth and we're like, oh my, and we're so shocked. It's like, no, we all can put makeup on, get our hair done. We all can fake it till we make it. And post it. But chaos is chaos, and it shows up. You can only push it down. You can only hide it in areas for so long. So if you're a business owner and your life is chaotic, you're going through the motions. But it's going to show up.
It is.
It shows up.
It is. And I do think, I was telling somebody, I really believe, this is me talking, I believe that when you go, whether you're going after capital or I think that there should be a question in the application. What trauma have you experienced in your life? So that would give to me, the person that's looking at that applicant, an opportunity to know you, right? Because in business, if you have that, then I should be given some consideration. I do believe that. I think that's the mistake, right? We say we graduated, right? We're in this sorority. We got all the things. But then what we haven't experienced or haven't shared is, we experienced death, or we have experienced divorce. And we don't believe that that world is part of this work, but it is, because you just said it's chaos. So if in my personal life, I'm chaotic, business owners, right? Or aspiring business owners, if you're going to start a business in chaos, then what's going to happen is that whatever, that P&L or anything that you're working on, it's going to show up. It just may not necessarily be at a place where you can have the numbers, you can do all the things, but you're not sleeping. Right? You're not really thriving, right? You're sleeping, you're drinking. And I remember this, Canetha, I was listening to Taraji, and she was saying how, right, she was going out, partying, doing all the things, and because, right, she was at the height. And then when she decided to stop doing that, she saw her friends differently. She discovered that she had the wrong friends in her circle, that as long as they was drinking and doing all the things or whatever, they were cool. And then she started to like shift, and she says she lives on a hill, and she was saying how literally, like, I go to bed at 8, I'm not drinking, but my friends look different. And I was like, wow, right? But at the same time, when you look at her, right, she was getting all the parts, she was getting all the things, she was doing it. But literally she was like, those people that were around me were just making sure that I was drinking so that I couldn't elevate, I couldn't accelerate, that I couldn't get to that space, And so I do think as women, and I wonder, like in your method, how do you get women to not only look at their business, but look at your circle, look at your inner circle? Like, is that part of the process?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to look at yes, it is 100%, right? I have a group of friends, and we're all amazing in our different areas, and we push each other.
Yeah.
I go to bed early like that. People talk about me all the time, but I can't stay out at night and wake up to go to the gym. It doesn't work. I'm too old for that.
Me too.
So it's so important of who you hang around. It makes a difference. And you were talking about like we were talking about the P&L statement, and you have to say, hey, well, this is the trauma. Like we're all humans. Every human on this earth is going to go through trauma.
That's right.
Some are able to deal with it better and longer than others if they have the skill set. Some people who don't have the skill set can hide it longer than others. So you never know. Not saying that if you have chaos going on that you can't grow your company.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
But if you don't change anything, it's going to catch up to you, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always in the beginning.
Yeah.
But who you hang around is so important.
Yeah.
If y'all go out and the most thing y'all talking about is other people, like, I don't get time for that. I want to talk about like new strategies, how we gonna grow, what we doing to better ourselves. So you find, but you have to be okay with being alone.
Yes.
Because when you start to shift, you find seasons where you're going to not want to be with your friends, lose your friends, family members. I have been in that place many times. And as you elevate, more people fall off, and then you elevate again. And people be like, you funny, you changed. Girl, we all should be changing. I'm 50 years old. I should be doing the same stuff I've been doing when I was in my 20s. I have young adult children, and I have to model a certain life for them. Yeah. So when you knew me back then, I didn't have no kids. My kids is little. Like, I have so much to lose now because I've grown in all these different areas. I can't hang out with people who want nothing to lose.
That's powerful. Ooh, that's powerful. So I want to ask you one thing. My associate producer did put some questions, but I have one question. What term growing up that you live by, but you no longer live by today?
I would say religion. I live by relationship. I have a relationship with God and Jesus Christ. That's my daddy. I call him all the time. But I don't live with religion. And religion is, you have to show up to church, you have to dress this way, all those things that have nothing to do with the Bible and the Word of God. But it's man-made, it's man-focused. I don't live by that. I live by my relationship with Jesus Christ.
And is that how you've able to build this business, the Amour method? Like, is that part of your method too?
It's the foundation.
Yeah.
It's literally the foundation of, and then everything else is built upon that.
That's beautiful. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs navigating trauma while trying to build something meaningful?
It's okay to get help. It's okay to seek out. So when I say get help, I'm talking about like counseling, therapy. It's okay to get into groups that may help you deal with certain things. And get better so you can attract better. The better you get, and be open to allow people in your life, right? But have boundaries.
That's okay. That's okay. So one of the things that I listened to you, and I love that you said it, because I'm intentional with not using the word but, and you said and I appreciate that word. I do, because we do a lot of but, right? I agree, but versus right. I agree and. Right. Yes. And so it just, oh my gosh, you just made me so happy when you use that word. And because I think that but drives me crazy. It really does, because it doesn't.
It cancels out as soon you can say something amazing. And as soon as you say but, you cancel out everything you've said. Yes. And only the people are going to be left with the last part.
Yep.
So
I've been intentional, because I realized that we do that a lot in just in conversation. And so when someone was like, yeah, I agree, but, so you don't really agree. You don't.
See, it cancels it out.
Yeah, you don't. And so to me, it's I agree and, right? I agree with you, and let's add, something else to it. And I think that is what happens, right? And it's so amazing to me, Canetha, because I'm always amazed, and I'm going to show you this parallel. Then I want you to do a brag moment where you get to brag about yourself. Recipes, right? The one thing that I love about recipes, right, is that you can make chili. I can make chili. Someone down the street can make chili, and nobody. This is good, but right, because you're operating in how you do it. So your chili is good, and your ingredients may be completely different from mine. And I can still like yours. And I can make my chili very different from yours. It might even look different, right? It might even like completely look good. But we have been taught that I can't like Canetha's and Larvetta's. What? That's crazy, right? And it's right. It's crazy. Yes. It's crazy. Yes. It's so crazy to me, right? And I'm about to take it, from a food moment, right? No matter what, you can have the fries at Chick-fil-A, the fries at Burger King, the fries at McDonald's, the fries at Pizza Hut, wherever, right? They're fries. They're fries. And I like them, right? So why do we
like different ones for different things? You might like one to dip in your chocolate shake. That's a McDonald's situation.
Yes.
I like the waffle fries when I'm eating my
right. So it's so like we don't realize like we can live in the and not have to, meaning that French fry you can still like them all. Like we don't have to pick. We don't have to pick, right? And so that's the space that I think as we move into this place, right? You can have a Canetha and still have a therapist. You can have a Canetha and still be a part of, a support. And I think that's I'm doing therapy. I don't want that right now because and that's fine. But that doesn't take away from, right? I can go to church and have a therapist. I can go to church and have a business coach. I can, it's just the idea that we have made this thing where it has to go one way, and I think it's the demise of us. I do think it's
that you bring that up. It is the demise of us. I love that you bring it up. You could be working on multiple different things.
Yes.
Right at one time, and they all go together. They all come together to this beautiful marriage.
Yes. It's beautiful.
And to speak about business, I have friends that are in the same field, and and I never feel guilty about referring because they all have different personalities. They all have different skill sets. And so they all bring something different to the table. So if someone comes to me and says, "Oh, I want this," I say, "Okay, I have 5 friends that do it. Which one? Well, tell me a little bit more what you're looking for." And they go and they explain, and I'm like, "Oh, perfect. You'll be great for this person." And I say, "Let me connect you." And I don't feel guilty when I'm with my friends. And I have friends that do what I do.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration. Yep. It's I learn how she does things, and I'll pick up some things that I like, And I'm like, hey, did you try this? Because what
Yes.
God has for me is for me. No one can stop it. No one can try to take it. Only one person who can mess it up, and that person is me by not doing what God told me to do, as I'm out here running my race.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, that's just
So I
beautiful.
don't feel like the need to be competitive with other people because I learn from people who are in my space doing the things that I'm doing. I'm friends with them. We have a great time.
Hmm.
Now, believe you me, there are people in my space who feel like I'm a threat or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually met somebody just recently, and when we met, she said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, open up the first luxury co-working space for women in Metro Detroit."
Hmm.
And then she says, "Oh, yeah, I'm your competition." I said, "No, you're not my competition. We're in the
Yes.
same field. So tell
Yes.
me, I'm excited to hear about what it is you can do
Yes.
so I can refer people to you because I'm
Yes.
not a fit for everyone."
Yes. And it's interesting, Canetha, and I'm, for my brag moment, so we're going to shift, but
Hmm.
I worked for McDonald's several years ago and Coke several years ago. They were my clients. Coke would have all of their vendors who pour. So that was, Chick-fil-A, Burger King,
Hmm.
everybody, right? Everybody showed up. Everybody, right? Who
Yeah.
pour Coca-Cola in their,
Yeah.
dispensaries, or they sell it. And
Hmm.
it told me that, right? None of them were competing, and they wanted them in the room to collaborate. Hey, McDonald's, you guys are using recyclable. Maybe share that with Chick-fil-A or whomever, right? Oh, okay.
Exactly.
And then what they did was, Canetha, which is so amazing, they would share the same supplier and they got discounts. So if four of them were getting the same cups, but they have different logos on
Yeah.
it, they got a discount. And so that taught me early on that you don't have to work in competition. Now, what they've all said is, right, McDonald's would say what corner they wanted. McDonald's was very clear from a real estate. They knew what corner, right? So they set
Hmm.
that standard. But most of them, like, I want to be next to McDonald's because they didn't set the stone. Yeah, they didn't set the stage. So you're going to go to
Yeah.
McDonald's and then you're going to come over here to Burger King or whatever, or that other place. And that was the first time that I realized when I was on there, like, duh, y'all. The same oil they using at Burger King is the same oil they using at McDonald's. I promise y'all it's the same thing, right? But we gotta believe, right? We gotta believe.
Yeah.
But when you go to McDonald's, you're gonna have Ronald McDonald in there, right? At Burger King, you
Hmm.
know, so it's so different.
Exactly.
So different. So I'm always using that as a parallel. So this is the moment, Canetha, what we call it is our Black businesses brag moment. So one of the
Okay.
things that we discovered is that people come on here, they're dropping all the gems, and then we're like, okay, well, here's your brag moment. Tell the people what you got going on, what you've accomplished, maybe an
Okay.
acknowledgement, an award that you recently got, or something that just blew your mind that we want to celebrate.
Okay. Awesome. I'm gonna start with this.
Yes.
My biggest brag moment is that I have a great relationship with my husband. Oh,
Oh,
he's my best friend. We work hard at it, but
that's
that
beautiful.
is a brag moment. He's my biggest supporter.
That's
And then
beautiful.
the second one is my children. My
Mm.
children are from 27 to 20, and they love hanging out with us. They love going on vacation with us, and we worked hard, but we have great relationships with them.
That's
So
beautiful.
that right there to me is number one, right? So
Mm.
that's my big brag moment because we put in the work and
Mm.
it has come to fruition.
Yep.
But outside of that, I'm a two-time author. Let's see. I teach women how to network for their personality type.
Okay.
It's the Ultimate Women's Networking Guide, empowering women to connect, thrive for every personality type. And I'm coming out with a new book. But the reason why I say that is because I never thought I would be an author because of my learning disabilities, because I'm dyslexic, right? And
Mm.
so that's huge for me. This year, I've won an award, the best innovative business from NABO, the National
The
Association
Association
of
of
Women
Women.
Business Owners.
Yes. Oh, that's
I
awesome.
was nominated for another award. It's called the Athena Award.
Okay.
Um, my Amour method has been placed in over 450 different news outlets.
Oh,
And this year it was in the Women's Journal,
wow.
for my Amour method. I opened up my co-working space It's a beautiful, beautiful space. We have 14,000 square feet in the heart of downtown Troy in a very high-end building. Let's see what else. We'll be celebrating 3 months in a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
We're starting a Lioness Circle so women can do life together, and we teach them all the lessons of the Amour method. That's coming soon.
Okay.
What else? We have a nonprofit where we teach teen girls entrepreneurship skills.
I love
I
it.
think that's it.
Well, I mean, and if it wasn't, that's okay. But that's a lot, and it's a big deal. And so, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
On those brag moments, and congratulations for honoring your partner, your husband, because what I heard, I don't know about y'all who listening, what I heard her say, she didn't say it, y'all. I'm not able to do all the things that I just mentioned to you all with not first having that strong relationship with my husband and producing wonderful kids. And I think that is beautiful. Yes. Absolutely beautiful. And oftentimes, right, we do that last. So thank you for honoring that first, because oftentimes we do make our family the last part, to our success. So I think it's so beautiful, which is why your business is thriving and why you're helping people thrive, because your foundation is that. So, I mean, it's what you're so radiant with it, because what you have been able to master is that relationship. And I think that's so beautiful. We use that word, all the time, but the way that you've helped us to understand what relationship really, really, really looks like for you, I think is also just beautiful. So as we close, why do Black businesses matter?
We have been the backbone of the American community for forever. We have, all the inventions that we've made that other people take credit for. We're just some, brilliant, amazing people. And I don't think we understand how resilient and amazing and brilliant we are, because our past history has been, some of parts have been stolen, taken out of, books for us to learn. We don't see it, but America wouldn't be what it is without us. And they did everything they could to shut us down, and we're still thriving, right, and surviving. So it's so important for us to show our genius in the world and in the marketplace. And it's time for us to create legacy for ourselves. So corporate America is great if you can, maneuver through those waters and you can make a name for yourself and you can make the money you need to make. But if that's not for you, if you can't do that in that area, it doesn't mean that you are less than. It means that you probably need to do your own thing and grow that and create legacy for your kids and your grandkids and your future grandkids. I'm all about legacy building. It's not just about here and now, but it's about what you leave behind.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, that's just beautiful. So what brings you joy?
Oh, my kids and my husband and my dog.
So now we know the dog is included. Before the dog was like, okay, now the dog is part of the joy. Where's the dog?
He is. Aww. I mean, he gets on my nerves, but I love him. I'm very relationship oriented. My dear friends, I couldn't do a lot of this stuff without them either, because my circle is so amazing. It's all the people in my life, and of course God. Without God I can do anything. So but spending time with people I love and care about, that brings me joy.
It's something that it does for your soul, right? It's something, it just makes your soul feel really good. It's the rubbing that with your soul, right? It's like, oh, I needed that rub down with my friends. So I agree with you.
It wasn't always that way. So now I'm excited. I get excited to go home and see my husband and my kids, but it wasn't always that way. And so I don't want people to feel discouraged, like, oh, she has this perfect thing. No, you can create it. You can make it. You just have to make it your priority, and you have to work at it. But I'm excited to go home every day to my family.
That's beautiful. And I think that's what, ultimately, I say this all the time. I hate I hate that we don't understand that everything that we do, it takes work, right? It doesn't just show up and it's like, oh, it's going to magically, and I mean, it's going to magically get better. No, it's not. I mean, even as small as a garden, right? You got to water it, right? You got to get weeds. Like, it's just not going, the flowers they just going to bloom. No, it's not going to work like that, And I think that's the world has bamboozled us to believe that you have to put the work in every area, in your relationships, in order for your businesses to grow. And I think you've done an excellent job in sharing with us. Oh my gosh, Canetha, this has been so warm and fuzzy and all the things in this season that I will say that, I wasn't sure how we were going to move this thing called trauma. I didn't want it to feel sad, right? Because sometimes when we talk about that but you just made us feel warm. Like, it's okay to have a business and experience trauma. And so just making sure that those things are put in place. So I appreciate you and I thank you for just being on this journey.
For having me and spotlighting all these amazing Black businesses. So kudos to you, for doing something that helps bring awareness.
Yes.
And actually every podcast and every person that you talk to, when people listen to it, you don't know how many people you're helping, you're healing. So, kudos to you and I celebrate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. This is probably what makes me happy and joyful is when I get to hear other women doing amazing things and men doing amazing things that are changing the world and to your point, and building legacy. And the other reason why, guys, I'm going to tell you that, which is why audio was so big for me, because as a person that had to, lost her mother. I lost my mother in 23. And I shared with someone that to have audio is never gets old. Right. And so that's why I feel like podcasting is right. You can listen to this as long as you want to. It's never going to die. Right. It's going to live. So your children get to hear this wherever, whenever, life happens, but they get to actually say my mother, is dope, not was, but is dope. And so, and that's the part that people don't understand is I was intentional because I told a friend the one thing that I miss is all those voice messages my mother left. Right. Because we kind of moved into texting. And so she would just leave beautiful messages that would just make my life lift. Right. And so we don't understand that the power of audio in some places is just what you need, right? In that space. And so having to listen to these stories, believe it or not, I haven't listened to a lot of my shows because I'm so critical, that's what we do. And so I try to, not do that. But when I am feeling like sad or having a moment, I listen to an episode and I'm always like, oh my gosh, they were so good, right? And it's just like, I felt like I was talking to my friend. And so that makes me happy. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Listeners, I just want you all to know that this season, I hope that as you think about your business, or maybe you don't have a business, that you really dig deep into whatever might be your trauma. And it doesn't have to be, something that was, kind of horrible, because we all come from different things, guys. But we know that to Canetha's point, if there's chaos personally, your business is going to be chaotic. If your business is chaotic, it's going to cause chaos in your personal life. So get yourself in alignment so that you can thrive. And remember, it's people like Canetha that you want to support. So Canetha, please drop your handles, your website, so people will know how to connect with you.
Sure. Yeah. So you can go to amourwomen.com, which is the French version of the spelling of the word love, AMOUR women, WOMEN.com. You can go to Canetha.com, CANETHA.com. My handles are the Amour Method, the AWWC, which is the Amour Women Work Community. And I think we're on a little bit of everything. So definitely check us out. We would love to connect with you and communicate with you.
There you have it, guys. Connect, support, and build community. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. See you next week.
The Black Businesses Matter podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer, marketing, and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. Follow us on Instagram at Black Businesses Matter.